the Mazda CX-5. A car that I really like a lot because, well, it's very nice to drive, it's spacious, it looks good, it's got a lot of extra equipment that you can put in it, and I've tested quite a few of them already. And now, here is the facelifted model, which has got some new exterior stuff, some new interior stuff, and also, quite interestingly, Mazda has started putting their 2.5 liter naturally aspirated gas engines into several models because they're phasing out diesels. This is essentially the North American model, or the engine, but now it's also here, so this should be quite an interesting test. The changes aren't humongous, but they are nonetheless nice, giving the model a refreshed, slightly more modern look, especially with the new LED signature. Thus, the CX-5 stays as one of the best looking SUVs on the road. The taillights are different as well, imitating the ones in the front. I like it. Because this is a larger car, it has plenty of space in the back. We could double our equipment and probably have no problems. No huge changes on the inside either. Basically, the only noticeable piece is the latest generation infotainment, while everything else is where it's been before. There's also wireless phone charging, which is nice. The infotainment screen is much nicer than the old one, with a higher resolution and better graphics. I do have to applaud Mazda's rear-view camera quality. A lot of brands appear to not care much about that. Oh, because the seats are wrapped in leather, it's super nice having ventilation. It's quite a good looking car, isn't it? I always thought the CX-5 was a good looking car, especially a few years ago when the new generation came out and they completely changed the look. And it was just, well, it was fire. And now they slightly improved on that. There's not a lot of changes, as you can see outside, mostly the lights and some details. And inside, of course, you've got the most, well, the latest infotainment screen, but I would say that's about it. So it's not a huge change, but it's a small and welcome change, even though, like I said before, even the previous non-facelifted version still looks very, very good. The things you're probably most curious about, well, I was anyway, is how does this engine fit this CX-5? Now, North Americans will already know all about it because they've had the 2.5 liter naturally aspirated gas engine for quite a while. We haven't though, mostly because, well, we here in Europe shy away from larger engines, and I say larger, anything above 2 liters here is larger, and especially a 2.5 liter gas engine naturally aspirated, yeah, that's quite the rarity, I would say here. If anything, it would be a diesel, but now, because manufacturers are unfortunately shying away from diesels, this also means, well, a lot more money spent on gas. But anyway, yeah, let's see how this engine is. So first things first, Obviously, this is a naturally aspirated engine. Yes, it has 2.5 liters of volume, which is a little bit more than we're used to usually. But it is naturally aspirated, which means that you don't really have that up and go of a turbocharged or a diesel engine. I do have to say, when you put your foot down, there is a lovely, lovely sound of the engine with this dual exhaust, and it just, I don't know, it kind of roars. It's nice, but it is not a racer, especially for a larger car like this. So if you're just driving economically, it can be quite quiet. If you put your foot down, it'll roar. It is very civilized, of course. It's a naturally aspirated gas engine. And yeah, there's no fuss about it. The automatic transmission is also quite nice. Most of the time it's fairly smooth, unless when you're decelerating and using the paddle shifters behind the steering wheel to shift down, it can be a little bit jerky, I found. So thinking about it, was there any time where I really wished for more torque from this engine? Not really, apart from motorways. There, if you're close to the speed limit and you're trying to overtake someone, or you have to do something quickly and you put your foot down, yes, you will know that indeed you don't have a turbo, you don't have a diesel, so not that much torque, but it never felt sluggish, to be completely honest. Even from a standstill, this engine is quite sprightly, and like I said, it's got a good sound which subconsciously makes you think that, you know, it's got more power than it actually does. But yeah, I never really found a reason to really go, oh my god, I wish I had a lot more torque. Of course, it's always nice to have more power and more torque, but this isn't a car for racing. This is a pleasant, comfortable car for cruising. Of course, all of that is nice and lovely. You know, the 6-speed manual, sorry, not manual, automatic transmission works nicely. The actual engine is lovely, but none of this truly matters as much for us Europeans over here, especially in these times of some ridiculous gas prices, than does the actual fuel consumption. And like I said before in the beginning, for those of you not from Europe, and possibly for those of you that have a lot cheaper fuel in your countries, you know, crisis notwithstanding, you're probably wondering, but why? Why would you not want this? Well, because of the fuel consumption. And I have to say that I was expecting a worse fuel consumption figure. I was driving reasonably economically, doing combination of cities, rural areas, and motorways, and I got a average of 7.2 liters per 100 kilometers, which is actually not that bad for a 2.5 liter gas engine. Of course, you have to remember that this car does not have all-wheel drive, so if you were to have all-wheel drive, this figure would be worse. In the end, though, I am pleasantly surprised by this engine. It is nice, it is pleasant, just like the rest of Mazda engines and models. It does sound like I'm getting paid by Mazda, I wish. But anyway, yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I thought this would be a lot more sluggish than it is for a car like this. But it's not. It's completely adequate. And like I said, the fuel consumption is reasonable. And the biggest thing here, I would say, is no matter what kind of engine you get, you're still getting the CX-5 here, which is just lovely, lovely, lovely. Lovely to look at, lovely to sit in, lovely to drive, and it's just a very nice place to be. It's comfortable, it's quiet, it's nice.
The Mazda CX-5 starts at just under 29,000 euros. For a fully loaded model with this 2.5-liter gas engine, front-wheel drive and automatic transmission, you'll be paying just under 44,000 euros.